The pride of Austria and the genius of classical music, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart remains one of the most extensively studied figures in the history of music. Alongside Haydn and Beethoven, he belongs to the most significant representatives of the Viennese classical school and is one of the most popular classical composers in the world. Mozart had a phenomenal music ear, memory, and improvisational ability. Throughout his short life, he managed to create over 600 compositions, which are played to this day in concert halls and philharmonics worldwide. Mozart was born on January 27, 1756, in the city of Salzburg, into a musical family. Out of 7 children of Leopold Mozart, the court musician of Salzburg, and Anna Maria Walburga, only Wolfgang Amadeus and his older sister Maria Anna, nicknamed Nannerl, survived. Both children possessed extraordinary musical talent, leading their father to focus less on his own career. From early childhood, Wolfgang Amadeus was a prodigy. He attempted to compose a keyboard concerto at the age of 4 and performed brilliantly in concerts around Europe from the age of 6. His compositions were first published in Paris. Over the next few years, Mozart lived in Italy. In 1770, Mozart became a member of the Philharmonic Academy in Bologna, Italy, and Pope Clement XIV elevated him to the Order of the Golden Spur. In Italy, his operas were staged for the first time, receiving great public acclaim. By the age of 17, the composer's body of work included 4 operas, several sacred hymns, 13 symphonies, 24 sonatas, and numerous smaller compositions. However, Mozart's peak of musical creativity didn't come until the 1780s. He secured a position as a court organist in his hometown and wrote his famous operas, The Marriage of Figaro, 1786, premiered in Vienna, and Don Giovanni, 1787, which premiered in Prague. During this time, he also composed one of his most popular works, A Little Night Serenade, or Eine kleine Nachtmusik, consisting of 4 movements. Mozart's compositions were in high demand during those years, and his work was well paid, unlike any other time in his life. This unprecedented creative surge and public recognition did not last long. In 1787, Mozart lost his beloved father, and shortly after, his wife Constanza Mozart was diagnosed with a serious leg ulcer. The treatment was costly, and Wolfgang spent a considerable amount of money. In 1790, Constanza required a new course of treatment. The family's financial situation worsened each year, leading Mozart to perform several concerts in Frankfurt to improve their financial situation. Despite a warm reception, the earnings from these concerts were meager. Some of Mozart's operas remained unfinished due to the family's difficult financial situation, which forced the composer to dedicate much time to various odd jobs. Mozart performed piano concerts in aristocratic circles and was compelled to compose pieces and waltzes on commission, as well as to teach. In 1791, there was an unprecedented surge in the composer's creative output. He wrote his renowned Symphony No. 40, and just before his death, the Requiem, which unfortunately remained unfinished. The story of the creation of the Requiem deserves special attention. In July 1791, a mysterious stranger in gray visited Mozart and commissioned the Requiem. As biographers of the composer later discovered, he was the envoy of Count Franz von Walsegg-Stuppach, an amateur musician who liked to perform other composers' works with his chapel, purchasing authorship from composers. He wanted to honor the memory of his deceased wife with the Requiem. Mozart exerted all his efforts working on the composition, while his health deteriorated rapidly. It got to the point where his wife decided to protect him from work and took away the score of the Requiem. The completion of the Requiem was done by his pupil, Franz Xaver Süssmayr. One of Mozart's last successes was his coronation opera, La Clemenza di Tito, premiered on September 6, 1791, in Prague. Mozart, although in poor health, visited Prague for the premiere of the opera. Even during the completion of the Magic Flute, Mozart began to experience fainting spells, and his spirits plummeted. From November 1791, Mozart suffered from poor health and was bedridden. The composer died of an acute fever on December 5, 1791. He was 35. At the time of his death, Mozart's financial situation was dire. He was buried in a common grave, and his exact burial place remains unknown to this day. Thus ended the life of one of the greatest composers in history.